Good Monday morning, LBC Radio. My name is Corey Rosen, and you are listening to the Story Podcast. Today, I have a special guest, Liam Galiano. Liam started playing bass in Lancaster County High School when Primus's Tommy the Cat inspired him to stop pretending to play clarinet and start pretending to slap bass. Luckily, thanks in large part to lessons with professors and consummate bassist Tim Wolfe, Liam learned to tastefully play any genre at least well enough to not get fired. This has led him to a still early but successful career of session work and live performance for a huge variety of artists and genres, not limited to his 75 Fender Bass, not gender bass. Liam also plays upright bass in musicals and six-string bass in his own music. He released a Christmas album performed exclusively on solo bass and voice and plans to release some new original music this year. Before joining Soul Miners Union, Liam toured with Sun and Rain and shared bills with some of the top names in that scene, including Perpetual Groove, Papadosio, and Tauk. Did I say those right?
Tauk.
Okay. While he still loves the absolutely bombastic creativity of high school idols Les Claypool and Brian Ritchie, Liam's biggest influences today are those bass legends that have not only chops but also restraint. Through studying Marcus Miller, Chuck Rainey, James Jamerson, Victor Wooten, Geddy Lee, and so many others, Liam has found his own voice. As the great Ian Martin Allison says, I have never wanted to be the star. I only wanted to be the star's bass player. Liam, how are you doing today?
Good, man. And let me first just say, good job on that gigantic bio.
Yeah,
and sorry for sending such a long one.
No, that's totally fine. I'm totally game for it. It's reading has always been a pastime of mine, and I'm just glad I got through that without messing up any one word. I messed up talk.
Oh yeah, but that's everyone messes that up.
Yeah,
it's spelled Tauk for the listeners.
So I don't know. These are some things I probably should do before show, but you know what? It's all good. So
Indeed.
You say you started playing clarinet in your own bio. What inspired that?
Just back in fourth grade, I had to pick an instrument. I think the clarinet, for whatever reason, just came naturally to me. Like the embouchure, I think can be difficult for some people, and for some reason, it was just natural for me, which is sort of unfortunate because playing the instrument was not particularly enjoyable for me.
No, really?
Yeah.
I picked up clarinet out of high school because I have this goal of mine to learn the basics of every single instrument, and as a composer I feel like that's kind of like important to know anyway, and especially if I want to go into like teaching music, you have to know how to play the basics of every instrument. And the clarinet I found was rather easy for me to pick up as well.
Nice.
It wasn't too hard. The embouchure was a new thing for sure, as playing percussion for all my years, having to actually learn how to breathe and learn how to put your lips on something that is not natural to have your lips on.
Right.
And then having to have this concept of a reed and have that wet and have that perfectly what is that? Like you have to like tie it in there perfectly so it actually makes a sound.
Yep.
And I still have it to this day, and I love to playing a little. I feel like Squidward almost playing around on it.
Right.
Was that one of your inspirations? Did you ever watch SpongeBob as a kid?
Oh, of course.
Did you ever want to
SpongeBob,
play
Ed and Eddie, all that Cartoon Network stuff.
Did you ever want to play clarinet like Squidward?
Well, I don't think he played it very well, did he?
No. Well, sometimes he
I
did.
think they made fun of him a lot for it.
Sometimes
I probably
he
did play it like Squidward.
I
don't know if I want to.
That's fair.
Yeah. But dude, it's funny, man. Like talking about the embouchure. I broke it out, the clarinet, a little while ago after not playing for years. And I played for 10 seconds and my mouth was on fire. It's just like, it uses these muscles that nothing else uses.
That's
Yeah, because I don't play any other woodwind instruments, so I'm
right.
sure it's the same as a sax and all that, or similar in
It's
the muscle,
it's
muscle
kind of
wise.
yeah, it's kind of similar. It's definitely nuanced. We'll put it that way. Because there's all sort of different ways to
Right.
play an instrument, and all sorts of wrong ways to play an instrument. Yeah. So embouchure, yeah, dude. When I started playing, I took brass lab here at LBC,
Mm.
this past semester, and oh my gosh, if you don't have small or like big lips, for you, if you can't play, it's so hard to play French horn if you have big lips. French
Oh yeah,
horn,
yeah.
the mouthpiece is like the size of a
Oh, I
nickel,
know.
and the amount of control you have to have over your mouth, not only with the buzzing that you have to do, but also like the position of your lip positions. I didn't even know about that you could actually accomplish, and with such a tedious instrument, that one small change can, because it's based on off the harmonic series. So if you
Mm.
make one change, it goes up like a little bit of a note,
Mm.
and French horn was almost near impossible. Tuba, if you don't have big lips, good luck. Because that
Yeah.
one's the size of
Right, right.
like a $1 coin or something like that, and the amount of it almost feels like if you've ever gone to the dentist and got like a shot to numb your lips.
It's exactly
That's
what it's like.
that's exactly how it feels like
Yeah.
after you're done playing one of those instruments for a long time, and you're just a beginner.
Well, or 10 seconds for me.
Yeah, right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
exactly. But it's
It's
a lot of fun
wild.
though. It is a lot of
Oh
fun.
yeah, yeah. And they
Um,
sound great. Even though I don't like playing the clarinet, I love hearing the clarinet.
yeah, and
It's a beautiful instrument.
yeah. So when did you stop pretending to play
Yeah,
clarinet,
yeah.
as you said?
I think I was 17.
17? Oh, so
Yeah.
you kind of waited a while.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't start until high school. And I think I actually started on drums for just a little bit, and my
Mm.
brother was playing bass. My dad's a bass player.
Gotcha.
And so, we my brother and I knew we wanted to, start a band or something. And strangely, after, just a couple weeks, we switched. So he became a drummer, and then I got really into the bass.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So, going back, going back to the clarinet thing for a little bit. Did you ever do marching band or
I
any other
did.
stuff?
Yeah. And so around the same time that I switched to bass, I actually also switched to bass clarinet.
Mm.
And so I played bass clarinet in the marching band. I also played some bass guitar in the marching band too, in the pit. But when we were doing parades, I played bass clarinet, and that's a great instrument.
So you must have like cast of steel, and
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah. I marched the glockenspiel.
Oh, yeah.
Some people had their pit and they were lucky. I I had to wear like
You marched the
two and a yeah, two and a
glockenspiel.
half
Oh my
octaves.
God, dude. How's your back doing?
Oh, it's horrible. And because kids don't think about their posture at all.
Nope.
Yeah, and the carriers weren't good at all. They was literally just shoulder straps, not even a back strap or belly strap, whatever you want to call those things. And it was literally it was a chest strap and it had two forks on the side that it would Velcro onto. So it would, and you had the march like 30-minute shows or 15. How long are they? How long is halftime usually? 15 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that.
Yeah,
But
more like 15 probably.
I think it's 15. Yeah.
Yeah, but parades
For high
were-
school.
Parades can be hours.
Yeah, no, parades were the worst.
Yeah.
Here's a really funny story about a parade we did.
Yeah.
So we did it in Georgetown, Delaware, and we were coming up to the judges station, but we had mistimed our music, so we had finished. It was Winter Wonderland. I remember this specifically. So we had just finished that, and it was right. We were right before the judges station. So the band director was like, "Well, instead of just doing cadences by the judges center, we're gonna, actually play the song again." So as soon as it ended, she does the tweet, 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 tweet for the roll off,
Mm-hmm.
and the drummers do the roll off, and I'm like, "All right, let's go." But apparently, the rest of the band didn't know what was going on, so it was
Oh,
only
no.
the drum line. So I was the only glockenspiel player. And no one decided to join in the rest of the song either. So
Yeah.
it was just me and the drums, like a percussion feature of that song. And I can't imagine what the judges were thinking. What was going on? It's like, there's only one
So
melody
funny.
instrument compared to like a whole like six or I guess there was four basses, there was two tenors, there was four snare drums, and then me.
That's
So
wild.
yeah, it was one of the most funny things that because you would think okay they're starting it and they're not stopping, and the band director isn't yelling at us. Maybe we
Right.
should start playing along as well.
You would think.
You would think. No, the entire time they just sat quietly and just kept marching, and I'm like, well, this is awesome, but this is also kind of embarrassing because I wasn't the best. I wasn't the best at like practicing at all.
Yeah.
And
Well, who is in high school?
And yeah, you're marching. You're marching around lugging this like maybe 70 pound instrument on
Yeah.
you as like a what was I like 15, 16-year old, and you're gonna mess up if
Yeah.
you've got that. And I have not played that song correctly because I had forgotten some of the passage lines, so I just made it up. But I tell you what, that was the only time I played the because I was so self-conscious. I was like, I have all pistons firing. How do I remember this? How do I play it right?
Yeah.
And I played it perfectly.
That's awesome, man.
And it's wild. Do you have any stories like that? Any fun marching band stories?
Oh man. Nothing's coming to mind.
No?
I feel bad. Nah, yeah.
No, that's
nothing's coming to
okay.
mind.
I feel like my school was just wild. I remember one time we were marching and one of my friends' snare just drops and rolls away.
Oh my
And
god.
well,
dude.
we weren't actually on like a parade at that point, but that was like during a practice, and that was very funny. It was a literal drum roll, haha. Just stupid stuff like that. But nothing,
man.
nothing you can think of.
No, I'll tell you what though, man. I'm thinking back to those days and just like I would drink like 10 Gatorades.
Oh yeah,
In one I drink like 10 Gatorades. I'd eat like, 2 pounds of French fries like every single game. And I'm just thinking back like if I did that today, man.
right.
Oh god.
Yeah, that is one thing I miss about childhood is that being able to eat anything and not gaining any weight.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Yeah, so we kind of talked about a little bit of the posture kind of thing and having like back problems, and that's a huge issue, especially for a lot of musicians that don't really know what the proper playing style for their things are. We had Robin Chambers on, and she had said that her whole her kind of one side of her faces was getting kind of deformed because of how long she's been playing violin, and she's had like almost permanent hickeys because of the violin, and that's
man.
what that was one adventure that I had starting to play violin. Is I started to get hickeys, and my parents were like, "Oh, what's going on? You only have a girlfriend." And I'm like, "Listen, you."
That's funny, man.
Yeah,
I've
it's
never
awkward
thought about that,
situations.
but it makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
That
because
you're compressing
you're compressing. Yeah, and
everything over
it's
here.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
a little weird. But yeah, and then you have neck cricks because you're just constantly like this.
Yeah.
And we were talking pre-show that you had sustained an injury from posture.
Yeah, so I've got some ulnar nerve issues right now. So kind of when I'm playing or when I'm using a computer and I use my pinky a lot, I start to get some pain in there and some numbness and that kind of thing.
Is that from just overextension or?
Yeah, so I'm going to physical therapy, and what the PT thinks it is all to do with posture. So yeah, it really is just it's all in my neck
Oh, it's all
your
in your
nerves,
neck.
yeah, because your nerves, come from
Yeah, they
your
come
brain,
from your brain
through
down
your
the
neck,
spine, yeah.
right down to your fingers, and so I mean, as a musician, I've been a musician for years practicing, and back in high school, I used to practice constantly. Hours and hours a day.
That's something
That's
I
all
wish
I
I
did.
did.
Outside of school. Yeah. And then on top of that, I worked a desk job then after college as an actuary for a couple of years. And so I was hunched over a computer.
Right, right.
And so I just kind of just years of just being hunched like that. And then of course video games and phones and all that stuff. And so yeah, my neck is just kind of constantly forward. And like that cool, I mean, podcast listeners here won't be able to see this, but the cool thing like Joe Dart does, the bass player from Wolfpack, like when he's banging his head,
He goes forward, yeah.
he goes forward and back, and it looks cool and all that. He looks nice and groovy, and I do that too, just automatically. Not not for any reason, but that's just how I headbang naturally, and that is terrible.
Is it really?
Oh, it's awful. Yeah, that's not how your neck is supposed to go. I mean, like your spinal cord up here and your neck is supposed to go
up and
down,
not forward,
left and right. Yeah, yes and no.
That's weird.
And yeah, so when you go forward and back, you're just like putting your neck in this insane.
That's weird.
Position.
I feel like that would be like almost a stretch, almost. But
well, I guess
like
it could
painful.
be for someone who's maybe a little healthier up here. Maybe it could be a stretch. But yeah, when you're doing it, when you've played as many shows as I have, and you're doing that for hours a night, hours. Yeah, and then you're hunched over a computer, just it catches up to you.
That's something I've been more self-conscious about, having like a hunchback instead of like kind of having a straighter back.
Yeah, roll your shoulders back.
And sit up straight. And they, for whatever reason, they always tell you to do this, but you never do. And then you regret it later, and you figure it out. Oh wait, they were right. It wasn't just a Strickler stupid thing. It was like, oh, they were actually trying to care for me.
Right.
Because sitting upright, it feels so unnatural, especially if you're a kid who's only slumped his entire life, and playing video games, doing all these other stupid kid stuff. And you're always going to be hunched over or looking at your phone, your iPad, whatever, even the TV. You're probably not even sitting great. But sitting up straight nowadays, it's so hard to consistently be like, I will sit up straight and then my back will hurt.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I've never used those muscles as much.
Right.
And my body is in the natural position to hunch over, but it's not healthy for you at all.
No. And it catches up to you.
And especially playing the marching band, not having correct posture at all for a lot of the time. I went to the chiropractor and they said, yeah, your back is really weird. Your left side of your hip goes backwards and your front shoulder goes backwards like this. So it's kind of in this mangled state where we have to like straighten both sides out. And
is that like scoliosis? Is that related to that, or
it's not I don't have scoliosis, but it's just trauma. I guess maybe their term, what they might call it, would be trauma-induced scoliosis, to the point where it's been in this position for so long that it only knows that position.
Yeah, I just found out that I have scoliosis
recently,
really? And I was never diagnosed with that in high school when they did all the tests and everything.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if I could have trauma-induced scoliosis.
Yeah,
or if it's just because I had growth spurt or something after high school.
Yeah, that always happens too, or that can happen. Doesn't always happen. But it's interesting combating, because when you become older, you truly realize how connected your body is, because like you were just saying, your finger, it's all from your neck,
right?
And sometimes all your back pain can be from your feet if you don't walk correctly.
Totally.
And that's something I've seen through many people, is that I don't know when this started, but I've always paid attention to how people walk, because I walk with my feet straight. Some people walk at more of an open angle,
right,
or a closed angle, and I'm like, how do you do that?
This is because you're in marching band. You probably have a roll step too.
Yeah. Oh, I love using the roll step. People, whenever I'm walking and I take a drink, like from like a bottle of water, people are like, "How do you do that without spilling it all over yourself?" I'm like, it's the roll step, and it's really fun, and it's actually I don't know if it's healthy or not, but I'm sure it's less. I know for a fact it's less trauma basing, besides like running or like actual walking, and it's much more. It's healthier because you don't drag your feet.
Yeah, I think it helps you keep everything above your feet in line a little more.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all, like you said, it's all connected. So like the other thing that, like the sorts of exercises I'm doing for my pinky here are like ab exercises, which seems insane. Yeah, but it's all connected, because if you can strengthen your abs, you'll have better posture in like your midsection, which allows you to actually have your neck back a little more. Because like a lot of bass players, guitar players, myself included, when we're holding the instrument, we put our hips way out.
Way out. Yep.
Yeah, because probably because like the guitar's right there, so it's almost like
Counterbalance.
your body, maybe counterbalance, or just like your body feels like it should lean into it because it's there, so it's kind of subconscious. Well, when you lean forward like that, for your neck to be at like a normal level, you have to push it forward. Because if you like put your hips forward and try to have your head back, you're like looking up at the sky.
Yeah,
or something,
right. Yeah,
yeah.
So
it's all connected.
Yeah, it's things
crazy,
you never
man.
think about as a person watching. Nonetheless,
Yeah.
actually doing it, because you never realize what you're doing when you're playing. I know for a fact that when I play piano, I'm always looking down, and so I'm always like this, having like this T-Rex position, which is super unhealthy.
Oh, your hands are that high up.
Sometimes, and especially
it's like
as
tough on your wrists.
It's so bad for your wrists. I've really come into realization that I have to have the piano either here at the keyboard, like your typical keyboard level for computer, that is, at like waist level, I guess, instead of having, because you can't play piano like this. This is ridiculous.
Right.
But you shouldn't play piano like this, because this also isn't a natural position for your hands. Your wrists need to be straight instead of bent which way or another, because that over a long period of time will cause all sorts of issues. And that's what I kind of feel, because when I play my bigger pieces that I can actually play, always I'm feeling this tension right here in my my forearm, because I don't know if I'm overextending. I don't know if it, and
so that's all nerve. Possibly.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know what it is, and now that you're mentioning it, maybe it's just my posture in general.
So could be.
One thing I've been doing a lot recently is this one exercise that I found online, and it's just finding a blank space of wall and pushing back against it, so that way your shoulders are touching, the small of your back is touching, and then your head is touching as well. And that is supposed to
That's
reset.
one of my PT exercises.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so I do that, and then I kind of lift my arms.
Lift your arms,
Picture like a snow angel. Yes, we call it a wall angel.
Yeah.
Yep, so I do that, and then you can also, if you're trying to strengthen your muscles in the back of your neck, you can do what you just said, tuck your chin. That's a big part of it. When you're against a wall, you need to tuck your chin. And then you can like kind of push your thumbs on your chin. And resist training. And that builds the muscles in the back of your neck, which helps to pull your head back.
And that's another. If any of you have like bad necks, or you wake up and your neck is like beyond stiff, one thing you can do is grab the side of your head. Say if you put your arm above your head and you grab the left side of your head, you just gently tilt your head to the left, and your hand is just there to stop your head. And just that kind of small resistance training will help your neck feel way better, and it'll help loosen up those. Even now, as I'm doing it right now, I can feel it. And just doing those kind of resistance exercise, and you can do that from looking side to side or tilting side to side, and it's so helpful, especially in the morning when you do that.
That's great. The other thing with that is get a different pillow. Possibly. So check out your pillow.
Yes.
What you should do is lie down in your pillow, like lie down in bed, and have someone take a picture of you from the side, and you'll be able to tell pretty quickly if your neck is like being pushed forward by the pillow, or possibly your pillow's too thin, and then your neck's too far back.
And you're at a crick.
Yeah, you'll be able to see if you try a few pillows.
Your back needs to be, your spine needs to be in line with itself. So definitely check your pillows. You don't want to. Because I know so many people who have a billion pillows, and when they lay down, I lay down on my side. So usually, if
you need a thicker pillow.
Well, if
you sleep on your side. Yeah.
So especially if I'm like trying to watch something, I like, you typically like to have your head straight up. So I have two of these pillows that have my neck at this like 45-degree angle, and I can feel it after a while. It's horrible, but so. Always make sure, especially if you're like a bedtime reader as well, you can't lay down and then prop your head up, because that, and like have your head chucked in like this, because that's gonna hurt after a while. You have to, and I know this is annoying, But if you want to read in bed, you have to like at least you can lay on your side and do it, or lay on your back and then hold it up. But that gets tiring after a while too. I've come up with so many contraptions to hold like my phone or my
Right,
TV
right.
or my book just above me because it's so tedious to hold your book like this, like look at it.
Tedious and can aggravate if you do have nerve issues.
Mm?
Gripping anything like that can aggravate
Oh yeah,
those issues too.
yeah, no, yeah.
If you're having, in your arm down here, holding a book up like that is not going
It's not
to
gonna help
it's not gonna
either.
feel good. Yeah.
No, so you definitely have to get the right pillow for you. If you're a back sleeper, you don't need a million pillows at all. You should only have like one kind of thinner pillow.
Yeah, yeah.
And this also comes into like getting like body pillows as well because and people don't realize how much because you're sleeping if you're doing it properly.
A third of your life, yeah.
A third of your life, like
Yeah.
8 hours. Some people more, some people
Even
less
more,
a
yeah.
day. And your body, I've realized it because I was kind of like in a depressive state after college because I didn't know what to do with myself.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I would always spend my days in bed watching TV or whatever. And bed sores are a thing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I had no clue. So I would be laying I typically lay on my left side because if you didn't know, that's actually healthy for you, especially if you're feeling sick. If you lay on your left side, your stomach is on your left side, so that keeps everything lower. If you sleep on your right side, it's you're more prone to throw up because it'll slowly make its way up.
Yeah, I used to have acid reflux. Well, I guess I still have acid reflux, but it used to be more of an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And lying on your left side can be helpful.
Can be
for that,
very
for
helpful.
sure.
I learned
Yeah.
that in Scouts, and I was like, oh, this is a life changer for me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, man, this has been Pillow Talk with Corey and Liam.
this has been Pillow Talk. Well, because it's important, especially as musicians.
It is important.
We have to keep our body is well. That's for everybody. Our body is our experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Because if you don't have control of your body, it's gonna be a painful experience. If you don't take care of your body in the Bible, we talk. There's a lot of talk of your body is your temple.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of that talk in other spiritualities as well, but it's really true. If you are in a space where you are not taking care of your body, whether it be just stretching, like even bending down in the morning to touch your toes.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be able to touch the floor with my palms of my hands. I was in that much shape because I did soccer and all these stuff. But nowadays, I can barely reach my like ankles.
Yeah, I don't think I ever could.
Right,
So,
yeah.
Good on you.
But well, all it is just in the morning, whenever you get up, just take it, not even like 5 minutes. You could just take like a minute and just bend down, reach for like a good 30 seconds. Don't overreach. Don't try to touch it. Just bend down, let stuff loosely hang out, sway from side to side, and then stand back up. That's all you have to do. And over time, you'll realize that when I first started this, I couldn't reach like my calf, or I would be like halfway down my shin. Now I can reach my ankle and the tops of my
That's awesome,
feet.
man.
Yeah, so it's and it feels so much better because I used to wake up with all this lower back pain whenever I sit down. I have this lower back pain, but now that I've like really kind of stretching it out each morning, and now I do it before nighttime too because it's a real nice relaxer.
Yeah, man.
It's so I feel so much more better. I feel so much more alive. I feel so much more flexible.
Yeah.
And as a person who used to weigh 300 pounds or over 300 pounds, feeling like you can't move destroys all your motivation.
Absolutely, man. And nowadays we all have these phones and everything, so we can just listen to a podcast. We can put on The Story with Corey Rosen.
Oh yeah,
when we're
Rosen,
doing our morning.
sorry.
Rosen. Oh no,
Yeah,
I did it to you.
so
now.
many people.
Dude, last names are the worst.
The last names are the worst.
Why do we even have them?
Well, it would be really
Seriously.
weird because that would be a bomb and like the apocalypse for anybody organizing any. Like imagine social security system if everyone had the same, only had a first name. You know what I mean? No middle name, no last name.
Yeah.
That would be apocalyptic. But yeah, what were we talking about? Stretching?
We were talking about stretching. Yeah.
Yeah, or you were talking about like listening to your phone.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, I was just saying you can just. I mean, there's so many things you can do to entertain yourself while you're doing stretching. Like
Right.
stretching
Oh
doesn't
yeah.
have to
Yes.
be tedious.
It doesn't
I
have to be
mean,
tedious,
yeah.
and it doesn't have to be painful either. Like
Yeah.
there's an exercise where you're literally laying on your bed or the floor or whatever, and all you do is you prop your knees up to like a 45-degree angle. So you're on your back, have your knees like 45-degree angle. You push on the bed, and you just lift up your back. You just keep it there for like
Mhm.
however long you can hold it there, and you'll start to feel it in your glutes and your in the back, and it's a really good stretch.
And that's good to feel it, yeah, in your glutes and your abs.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you feel in your lower back, you're not doing it right.
Right.
Yeah. So
Um.
adjust.
So yeah, adjust, and even simpler than that. Just in that same position, just rock your knees side to side and go as far as you can, and that's another good stretch for the side of your back muscles. I'm not an atom and what I'm not a person who knows the muscles.
Oh yeah. Nor
Uh,
do I.
I don't know any anatomy or much anatomy, but you'll
Yeah.
really work out the sides of your muscles, and you'll start to feel strong again and feel
Yeah.
motivated. And that's so, like when you're being unhealthy to your body, it affects your mental capability as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's really
It's a spiral,
it's
man.
yeah, it is
'Cause
it's a downward
yeah,
spiral.
if you don't exercise, you don't sleep as well. If you don't sleep
If you
as
don't get
well,
outside,
well, yeah, that too.
that
Yeah.
even going outside is so important, and we learned this a lot during the pandemic. Being able when we're all cooped up inside, like suicide rates went up. All these
Oh yeah. Well,
like drug addictions
in
went up.
Alaska, suicide rates are
Or
extremely
beyond because they
high.
have
Yeah,
6
'cause they
months
don't have
of
the sun.
darkness.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
getting that vitamin
Vitamin
D
D. Yeah.
is so important to your mental health, and so important, especially when you're like right now. I live in an apartment where I have no like curtains for my bed, but it's been
Mhm.
so nice waking up to the morning light and being
Oh, yeah.
woken up like that. It's really because usually when you wake
Yeah.
up in like a dark room, it's just groggy feeling. I don't want to get out of bed, whatever. But when you wake up to the morning light, at first it's like annoying because it's like
Mhm.
I want to go back to bed. But slowly I've been there for a week now, but now I kind of welcome the morning light because it helps me okay, it's time to wake up, and I'm not groggy. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
refreshed. I feel refreshed. And that's we as a society have kind of put our health aside for a long time. And we've only recently been able to have the capacity to care about our health.
Right.
Uh,
And we try to address, and we realize that we need to think about health to some extent, but the way we address it is with like processed foods that say, I am healthy on
No.
the package.
yeah, processed
If I
foods.
eat one of these protein bars, that's good for the day, right?
It's not. You have
Yeah.
to eat your fruits and vegetables. You
Right.
have to, and processed foods is like an American thing. There's
Oh yeah.
you would you wouldn't find that in Europe, and there's so and one of the funniest things I find hilarious about Europe and like their whole system is that the portion sizes are insanely smaller.
Yeah, unless you're in Germany. But,
Well, yeah,
but
yeah,
see, even
yeah.
in Germany, though, the portion sizes are large, but they're large
Good food.
with sauerkraut and
Yeah.
red cabbage, all these fermented foods that are incredibly good for gut health and
Mhm.
full of vitamins and minerals.
One
They
of
eat
my-
salads constantly. Every single
Mhm.
meal has a giant salad.
And that's also healthy, like eating a salad. But one thing about eating habits I've learned, I go to Overeaters Anonymous because I want to lose weight. Because I realize I'm not being healthy for myself. Is that drinking water when you're feeling hungry
Mm.
can oftentimes fill your hunger because people don't realize that they're actually just thirsty.
Yep.
Yep. And so
Yep.
if you're ever feeling like you need a snack or you're trying to lose weight, if you ever feel like you're hungry, try drinking like maybe a half a bottle of water or something like that, and see how you feel after that. Because you'll know when you're actually hungry.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's been the case that we live in such a abundant society that at the twinge of hunger, it's time for a bag of chips.
Absolutely. And when you eat processed foods like that, they don't really satisfy you.
No,
So
and
you
you
still
have to
feel
keep going.
hungry.
And
Yeah.
there was a whole experiment done with that with McDonald's of how McDonald's food and for most people. I don't want to say anything. I don't give legal advice. But
Nor medical advice.
Nor medical advice. I don't. I am not liable for anything. I'm just giving my
I'm not
opinions.
liable for anything.
Nothing.
Corey Rosen.
But like their food makes you feel more hungry afterwards. It's not filling. It's not satisfying. I've been, and oh my gosh,
Right.
the amount of, it's so hard to get out of because I'm trying to get out of it, but your body is so atoned and used to getting this crappy food that doesn't really do anything, and it just stores fat anyway. It's not giving you actual genuine sugars that you need. It's just getting you all these unnatural, like all this fructose syrup, this corn syrup.
Yep.
That it tastes really good, but it's horrible for your body. And getting out of that is so hard. It's because your body rejects the healthy food. Your bowel system gets completely redone,
Totally.
and it's painful because your body is having to reset to, and that's something a lot of people have problems like trying to get into keto or trying to get into like a vegan
you get
diet
the flu
or
for a couple days.
yeah, they feel so horrible for the it's because it's almost like an addiction that your body has to, because you go through with withdrawals, you go through these cravings that you need to have something sweet, you need to have it, you need to have that, you need to have that hit, you need to have that high, and that's so hard to get out of.
Oh, it is, man. I've done keto a few times.
Yeah?
And I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, you almost feel sick for a couple days, and then after that, you feel great
perfect
for the rest of it. Yeah.
And I feel like that's a whole another thing of American society has to go through, is that we've been so comfortable for so long that at the slightest pain or the slightest whatever,
Absolutely.
we immediately like go to the doctor or we immediately give up. And that's something I feel like we have to turn around, because there is no gain without suffering.
Yeah.
There is no growth without failure.
Yep.
You got it, and this is something I've been learning a lot, is that you have to take. The government can't do everything for you, and everyone at some point, the bill stops with you, and you have to do something. Granted, you can have people that can help you keep accountable, but it's your choice to start.
Right.
And all it takes is a start.
And some people have a harder time than others.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But
you work with what you're given.
Yeah, you got to work with what you're given, and you got to build to your future. You can't. It upsets me that people just wait for things to happen to them.
Yeah.
Because especially as like musicians, you can't wait for the next big thing. You can't sit around and wait for a gig.
No.
You have to go out to your open mic. You have to go out to. You have to network and do all these different things.
Absolutely true.
So, segue from the health talk with Corey.
Alrighty.
How did you network into the multiple bands that you've been in?
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I would say, going to open mics. Just I mean, you can call it networking, but it's really just enjoying spending time with people. And like when it comes to like, I guess like really for me, networking is maybe like remembering people's names and everything, which I'm terrible at.
Oh, absolutely.
So I would never say I'm a master networker, but you remember how people make you feel, how people treat you, and you remember how people play too.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's definitely you have to. That is one pressure you have to be aware of, is that you kind of have to always be on your A game, or at least your B game.
Well, yeah, because if you're not, like, why are you even doing it?
Why? Yeah, that's. I'll actually contest it a little bit. Me and Nathan Arden, we had talked about how, at the old Tellus mic with that Bjorn used to host.
Hey, shout out Jake Joyce. He's taking over that open mic tonight.
Oh, he is?
Actually, it's starting again tonight. Yeah.
Yeah. That. Well, it's been going on for a while now.
Yeah.
I think people.
Yeah, they're rotating the
Yeah.
hosts monthly. Yeah, so it's Jake Joyce this month. But
Okay.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm definitely gonna be checking it out tonight. It starts at what, 6 or 7?
I don't know. Check out Facebook.
Check out Facebook. Yeah.
I think 7, yeah, something like that, or maybe
yeah.
6.
Well, Tellus has always been weird because
What do I know?
yeah, it's always been weird. But what were we talking?
You were talking about Nate Arndt.
Yeah,
and
yes.
something
We had talked about how because in the past at Tellus, there have been acts that weren't at least up to my standards of what an act should be. They weren't as professional. They weren't as clear cut. They weren't as
You talking about my band, man?
No,
No,
not at all.
I'm just checking.
But there was a guy that came up with like a really cool like old style synth electronica piece. And he was playing interesting music. It just first off, it wasn't for me, but I didn't consider it to be like good, and I like ragged on him in my mind, and I realized you can't do that because everyone's on their journey, and who knows where he's at in his journey of being a musician. Maybe he's just starting out. Maybe he's experimenting. And the last thing I want to do is discourage somebody from doing music.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, this industry and so many other, industries, creative ones especially, are just so competitive that you feel like that sort of just natural human instinct to try to put other people down to bring yourself up is even more extreme in this industry. So it's totally natural to have that kind of feeling. What you definitely, you want to try to work to minimize that, obviously, but that's a lifelong process. The thing that you can do right now is to not verbalize any of that. I'm not talking about you, but I mean,
it's
and like
true.
you say, you didn't say the guy's name, which is key. I think that's when people talk badly of other people and name them is just I don't know. That's not going to help. Like,
no, it's not going to help you.
Like
it's not going to help them.
Yeah,
it's
not
just
going to
bad.
help anyone. You can give like feedback. If it's direct feedback. If it's like the place and time for it. But it's it's really tough, man. Because I have all those instincts myself, and I've absolutely talked badly about people all the time. And then every time I do it, I regret it,
Yeah,
so
right.
like I said, it's a lifelong.
For sure. It's so hard because it is so competitive. We have to realize that every opportunity isn't or every lost opportunity isn't a lost opportunity. It's just an opportunity for different opportunities.
Yeah. And if someone gets a gig that you didn't get, well, if you're maybe you should just be friends with that person.
Yeah.
And then if they have something else come up, maybe they'll ask you to. Or they'll recommend you to fill in for them.
Right. You should never feel sorry for yourself because that's gonna end your career very quickly if you continue to feel sorry for yourself. You have to roll with the punches and you have to keep going. And jealousy is a hard thing to deal with, but you can't just be jealous of everybody because then you start drama and then you start burning bridges, and that can never really be rebuilt, especially if you've never had a connection with that person before.
Yeah,
you're wasting more opportunities by bad mouthing others than you are creating better opportunities, and no one wants to go to like bad vibes. You know what I mean? No one wants.
No.
It's awkward for everybody. It's not only awkward for you and the person, but it's awkward for everybody, and people are going to be turned off by that.
Absolutely. You'll lose a lot of gigs that you don't even know that you lost by saying something negative about someone in the presence of someone else.
Yeah, because especially in Lancaster where everyone
you'll have no idea you lost.
Yeah,
this amazing gig.
Yeah, it's especially when in this community where it's so connected, everybody knows everybody.
Absolutely.
And there's word travels like lightning in the music industry.
Absolutely, it does, and even more so nowadays with social media, the internet, and everything like that.
And especially when there's there's a group of people that specifically look out for these things anyway.
Yeah,
Because
I'm sure many groups of people.
that
Yeah.
look out for specific things and will tear you to pieces because they are envious and you just can't be a part of that. You have to separate and remove yourself from, because negativity only breeds negativity.
Absolutely.
Hate breeds hate, and that's not what it's about. It's all about love, really, when it comes down to it.
And again, we have these reactions, I myself absolutely included, have like a negative reaction of jealousy or disdain, I guess. Yeah. And then, it's something I just try to reconcile with, also always being supportive, outwardly.
Even if you didn't like the act, you can always go up and say, "Hey, I'm really proud of you
Thanks
for
for
going up
being
there.
here."
Thanks for being here." Yeah, even
Yeah.
just simple as that. If you can't think of anything nice to say, just say, "Hey, thanks for being here. That was," and thanks for being here. That's all you have to say. You don't have to lie to them and be like, "I liked your set," or
Yeah.
whatever. But you can just say, "Thanks for being here. It's good to see you," or you can just make that deeper connection, and that's gonna help you so much more, infinitely more than going up to someone else and triangling them by saying, "Dude, that guy kind of sucked."
Yeah, right. And like you said earlier, man, like the best way to get better is to just go for it and fail.
Mm-hmm.
When you fail, you will succeed down the road.
Yeah,
and we've all been there. I've played plenty of gigs that were extremely, just not very good.
You want to talk about one of them?
Oh man,
You want to talk about your worst case?
I'm
Like
not
your
good
bass
with these
falls
stories,
out, or
man. Every time I know I'm on the story podcast, but every time you ask for a story, I
no, it
blank.
happens every single
I
time.
should have brought a list.
Every
I need
time
to write an autobiography.
Well,
I'm sure a lot of people will buy it, right?
I'm sure. Well, you know what? If since you have fans, people are gonna be interested. That's why so many people are a few like people are interested in this podcast because people want to hear about it. And they want to know what makes Liam Galiano.
Yeah, it's the hair mostly.
It's the hair and the bass playing.
Yeah.
But do you have any of those off the top of your head you can think of where like a bass string pops off?
Here's a good example, man. I was and this goes to like if I could give you like one big tip for being like a sideman musician, well, two, it's to always be prepared and to show up on time. Early, really.
Really early, yeah.
Yeah, early is on time. Absolutely. Yep. And so this one gig I was running way behind on, and I like got on the stage like just as like we were playing the first tune, and I was in the wrong tuning. I was like in drop D, and I could hear it right away. As soon as I played the first note, I'm like, oh no, and I'm trying to retune it, and like the song like kicks in, like a second later. So I just absolutely, I was like, oh well, it's okay. I'm a good bass player, right? I can just play with the wrong tuning, and it's just terrible.
Yeah.
This is why you should never change your tuning, bass players.
Never.
Just because the guitarist changes their tuning doesn't mean you have to. That's the takeaway here.
Or another
I wasn't in the wrong.
I wasn't in the wrong. It was their fault.
The guitar player.
It was the guitar. It's the guitarist propaganda.
That's my third
they've
lesson.
been feeding you.
It's always the guitar player's fault.
It's always the leads. Yeah, it's always the leads issue.
Absolutely.
But another workaround that is practicing in drop D.
Yeah.
And and I'm sure that'll come in useful at some point.
Oh, totally. And it sounds completely different too. You can play the exact same riff in the exact same key in standard and then in drop D, and it'll sound totally different.
Completely different feel.
Yeah, it's all about getting as many colors in your palette as possible.
Yeah. Talk to me about how figuring out the extremities of the bass, like you can do harmonics and all that stuff and like chord figures. Talk to me how you started like getting into that and kind of like because it's a science, really.
Yeah, some of it is for sure. Yeah, a lot of it's mathematical. Well, I don't know, man. For whatever reason, I just was always more interested in what kind of sounds I can get with my hands, as opposed to like what kind of sounds I can get with effects and amps and everything. And I love all that stuff too. Like Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine is one of my favorite guitar players, and he is all about, crazy effects all the time. But when I sit down, if I have like 3 hours to practice, and if I'm like going in there, and I've done this, like thinking, I'm going to dial in my reverb. I'm going to dial in like this effect that I might use on certain songs. 5 minutes in, I'm like, this is the most boring thing I've heard. It just doesn't excite me at all. Not even in the slightest. And then, if I like sit down and I'm like, well, what can I do with my hands to try to, add something like reverb or some other, technique that I can spend all day on. I mean, 3 hours is up, and I'm like, man, I wish I could just keep going.
Right. It's so you can do so much with every instrument that, like, watching Robin, for example.
Oh yeah.
She does, like, once her horsehairs break on her bow, she's playing with her bow. If one of her strings break, oh well, she'll play the same thing on another string.
Yep.
And she's insane.
Oh yeah, she's incredible.
Absolutely insane.
Everyone you've had on this podcast is like top tier, incredible musicians around Lancaster. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm excited to have more of that on. If you're listening and you want to be, if you think you have the stuff.
Yeah.
No, I'm not that posh. But if you want to be on, I can have you on. It's not a problem at all. I'm willing to have anybody on. I'm having, the range here is that your local gig musician that goes out to an open mic every Monday or whatever. Yeah. And then the upper echelons of that is I'm having a Grammy Award winner on. So
oh yeah, man.
I'm dude.
Exciting. You haven't announced that yet, have you?
I have not, but now I have.
Exciting.
Yeah, that's coming in June, folks. I think.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
and you've interviewed a lot of bass players too.
Yeah,
you obviously
two of them.
have a.
Well,
so 3 now. Yeah.
Nathan Arden.
Henry and Nate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. I always think of Nate as a bass player, but I guess
really?
that's how because when I first met him, he was playing bass. But yeah, I guess he does more acoustic guitar, doesn't he?
Yeah. He's
a killer bass player too, though.
Really, I didn't know that.
He is. Yeah, he's killing.
I didn't really seen him play. Well, that's not true. I've played with him on bass, but maybe I just haven't seen him.
You just don't think of that as his primary thing, which makes sense.
Yeah.
I play acoustic guitar, but you don't think of me as an acoustic guitar player.
Right, but also I never saw him like really jam out on a bass. I've just seen him do more of like some like basic thing.
Totally, dude. But there's a reason it's called basic.
Ha 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 ha.
Because that's what you should be doing on a bass.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you see people, going nuts on bass, a lot of times it's they're not actually playing what the song is calling for. Not always.
That's an interesting
but a lot of times.
If you want to hear more about that conversation, you can tune into our Facebook Live. Find us at facebook.com/thestorycoreyrosen. That's CORYROSEN. You can follow us there. We're going to go back to the radio, so we're going to hear a few pieces from Liam Galiano himself. Do you want to introduce your first piece?
Yeah, so the first one, is it Haiku? Is that the first one you have here? Yeah, so this is just a tune I wrote, and it's on, and I do sing on it, unfortunately. But the bass sounds good. And it's just one bass and vocals.
Yeah, we should state that Liam considers himself a bassist.
Yes, I'm a bassist and a vocalist in training. So you're seeing me on my journey here.
And with that said, here's Haiku.
Cherry blossoms rise, another season ends. So another can start. Now the blossoms fall. Such a brief life lived, so full. Summer starts anew.
And that was Haiku by Mr. Liam Galiano. Do you want to introduce your next piece we have before we go back to regular radio music?
Sure. So, which one are you playing? Pencil, or where do we go?
Which one do you want to introduce? Which one's longer, I guess?
Where do we go? Let's do that one. So,
That's fine.
this is Ben Brand and Soul Miners Union. This is my main gig nowadays. And it's just kind of a blues rock funk band from this area, from Harrisburg.
Is there any backstory to this? Where do we go?
The tune itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ben wrote the lyrics actually right before recording it.
Really?
Out in LA, yeah. But this is a live recording from when we played at the Englewood. So,
Okay.
Yeah, and so Ben Brown guitar obviously, and then Joe Shaddles on drums is a total monster.
Cool.
So hopefully you dig.
What's one thing we should take away from the song?
You should let your hair down and rock out.
Put your head down and rock out. Well, here is Where Do We Go by what's
Ben
the band name?
Ben Brandt and the Soul Miners Union.
And the Soul Miners.
Yeah.
go for me? Where do we go? Where do we go from here? I can't say I don't have no choice. And every time you're around, I speak my mind and I lose my voice. It's a shame. Now there's so much noise. I let too much pain get out it like I did that before. Where do we go? Where do we go from here? Where do we go? Where do we go from here? Where do we go? Where do we go from here? Where do we go? Where do we go from here? Where do we go?
And that was Where Do We Go? So, Liam, it's been wonderful having you on the radio. Where can these lovely people find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook or YouTube, Instagram too. Just Liam Galiano.
Okay. Do you have anything on Spotify?
Yeah, so on Spotify, I just have my Christmas album, which is just playing solo bass, and my girlfriend Anna sings on a couple tunes too.
Who is also a phenomenal singer, I must say.
She absolutely is.
Yeah.
Just look up Liam Galiano on the web. I think I'm the only one. Pretty sure. So I think if you just Google Liam Galiano, you'll find my stuff. And then that band we just listened to that I play with is Ben Brandt and the Soul Miners Union. So same thing with that. Just Google that.
Cool. What events are coming up for you?
Yeah, so let's see. This coming Sunday, I have an open mic at Iron Spire in Adamstown. Then the Wednesday after that, I have an open mic at Village House.
What times are those?
So this Sunday, 1 o'clock at Iron Spire Complex, and then Wednesday at 6. And then the next thing I have is Ben Brandt Soul Miners Union is opening for Gabe Stillman down at Soundbank. That's on May 14th.
That's cool.
So yeah, he's a monster guitar player. So that'll be fun.
All right. Well, if you want to listen to us more, you can follow us on Facebook.com/The Story, Corey Rosen. That's CORYROSEN. We will continue having a conversation on there. As for the radio, it's time to listen to some more music. All right. Well, that's that. So we were talking about what it was like to start singing and developing your voice rather than your bass playing. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so I've always been a songwriter. Ever since I started playing bass pretty much when I was 17. And so part of that is I've always wanted to be able to sing, the songs I write. And back in high school, I just did it. When I in that first band I was in with my brother and another dude, I was the singer. And I listened back to those. I'm like, yeah, that didn't sound very good. But in the moment, I was, I had that high school arrogance, and I just, or I should maybe fearlessness,
Yeah, right.
And I just went for it. Then in college, that fearlessness was beaten out of me. And so now I'm on the other side of that, I'm taking lessons now, and I'm actually trying to learn how to sing correctly. And yeah, I think a lot of it is just confidence, honestly, which is much easier to say than to do.
Actually
Yeah.
getting it.
I think if I just had more confidence, I would sound better. But it's like, and I know that, but then how do I actually have, gain that confidence?
Any voice teacher will tell you to open your mouth and actually go for it. And that's the hardest thing you can do as a singer, because especially if you already have this in your mind that I don't sound good.
Right.
It's hard to open up your mouth and actually sing with all your heart and all your mind, because that's
very
once you do that, you're gonna sound great. But it's all the contractions, the unconscious movements you make with your mouth that really affect your performance. Yeah, I didn't realize how because I took voice lessons because I figured as a composer who's writing lyrics for for someone to sing, especially writing a musical, I should figure out how should I get them to make this kind of sound, or how, because there's different ways of singing, like the way Sam sings, Amelia.
Oh yeah,
the way she sings versus the way someone like Bjorn Jacobson or Nathan Arndt sing. It's completely different.
Different.
And you can tell with their mouth shapes are completely.
Well, yeah, and especially in Bjorn's case, like if if anyone else tries to sing like Bjorn, we're gonna blow out our voice in 5 seconds.
You can't sing like Louis Armstrong and get away with it.
No,
without at least smoking a million.
Right, and that blows out your voice too. Yeah. My vocal teacher, shout out Keith Harker, was telling me about Tom Waits. Tom Waits's vocal cords and how they're just like destroyed from singing the way that he does, and smoking cigarettes constantly, and he's got that incredible voice, but his vocal cords are just completely
trashed.
And so like you can say I want to sound like Tom Waits, but you just kind of can't.
You can't.
And just try to sound like yourself.
That's the main thing. Emma, we kind of talked about this a little bit with Nathan and I think only Nathan, but there's only one Jimi Hendrix, there's only one Duke Ellington, there's only one Louis Armstrong, there's only one Aretha Franklin, there's only one of whoever you want to pick from. There's no way you're going to be able to sound exactly like them, because you are not them.
Right.
You have to be you.
Yep.
And there stuff that can be said to be like emulation and then like tributes and stuff like that. That's fair. But if you are starting your career and you set off with the idea that I'm gonna be a country star singer and I'm gonna sound exactly like Johnny Cash, no, you're not.
Right.
And people are gonna see that as fake, essentially.
Absolutely. Well, a good example is like Greta Van Fleet, who is a killer rock band. I mean, they're amazing, but like the first single they dropped is basically a clone of like a Led Zeppelin tune.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so when that dropped, like I remember thinking myself, and I know a lot of other people I talked to were just like, well, who is this band? Why are they pretending to be Led Zeppelin?
Right.
And they have tons of original music that sounds amazing and does not sound like a ripoff of Led Zeppelin. But that first song that, reached popularity kind of.
Yeah, the way to make, if you want to make authentic fans, like legit fans of your work, you can't leech off of other people's work.
Sound like yourself.
Because
the other thing is, like, people, like, when you gain fans, those people are going to want to hear you performing the way that they heard you at the beginning, or they call it selling out. If you change your sound later. And so the thing is, like, if you start out with an inauthentic sound, later, if you like decide that you want to have a more authentic sound, you could see how your fans might actually like perceive that as like selling out or like changing your sound or something.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you always want to start out as your authentic self.
Yeah,
'cause
build fans on who you actually are, and then you never have to change.
yeah, and even if you go into different genres, it's still going to be you anyway.
Yeah.
I know some fans will disagree with that, but who honestly, if you got to do you, and people are going to respect you for that much more so than if you did what like a corporation told you to do, or like whatever else told you to do. You got to do what you want to do, and you have to do it like you would do it.
Yeah, because again, you're choosing to devote your life to this career, or maybe it's a hobby for you. But either way, why would you not do it the way that's the most authentic
And the most fun
and the
for
most
you.
expressive
Yeah.
and fun? Yeah. I mean, whether you're devoting your life to it or you're devoting your free time after being, finishing with your desk job for the day, either way, like, why would you not do it?
Right. I wouldn't want to spend my free time being someone else.
No. Yeah.
So I've gone through voice lessons because I know that I'm not the best singer. However, this didn't occur to me at first because
Yeah.
I was the lead in Shrek. I was the lead in some of my high school musicals,
Mm-hmm.
and so I thought I was the person, the man.
Sounds like me, man. Yeah, like, or just, I mean, I didn't have those accolades, but I just mean having the high school fearlessness.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah.
well, it wasn't that. It was more of a affirmation that I was able to do this. So it was more of people had always said during my life that you're a really good singer. Wow, you can sing really well.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're so amazing. I want you to sing this for me. And one of the funnier things growing up is that people said that my singing sounds a lot like Owl City.
Owl City.
Owl City, yeah. I would sing along to Fireflies, and people would be like, "You sound just like him." So I tried to emulate him even more.
That. Yeah. Oh yeah, right.
But
Try to lean into it.
try to lean into it and try to
Yeah.
make that like, oh, it's the Owl City guy. But not anymore. But it kind of hit me during my senior year when people started to kind of look down on me of getting these bigger parts. It's something, I don't know what changed, but something changed, and I started to feel it, that maybe I don't have all this stuff that I thought that I had, and that kind of that would hit you hard in some
Yeah.
places. But it really hit me in college when I kind of had this imposter syndrome. I don't know if you probably don't know much about this college, but some of the musicians that come through here, even the professors that have worked on they've worked on Broadway, they've been in the Philharmonics, they've conducted the Philharmonics of the like Seattle, New York City, Philadelphia. They know what they've been to Peabody, they've done this. They always praise the caliber of musicians. Our director of vocal studies has said that the caliber of musicians, singers especially here, rival that of Peabody Institute, which is like one of the top music in the world. So hearing that, like, and growing up with these colleagues of mine that are absolutely incredible singers, like
Right.
almost all of my, I think this is actually a true statement. Most of my freshman class musical theater majors are working at Sight and Sound right now,
Well,
or working at the Fulton Theater in their production
That's
of The
awesome.
Little Mermaid right now. So it's coming here, hearing those, and then just having had my whole vocal repertoire like kind of bashed on, dude.
yeah.
That's hard.
I know, man.
And I assume that's was that kind of like the story for you in some aspects, or did you always just kind of hate your voice? And
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I felt pretty confident in high school, and then when I got to college, I mean, let's see. Okay, so I think part of it too was that in high school, and then in college too, I was mostly in like the punk and rock and metal scene, that kind of thing, where, well, maybe not metal as much, but like punk, and like punk especially, your voice doesn't have to be a certain thing. It is all about just going after
going
and
in,
just singing, as loudly and as
Guns N' Roses or Carry On My Wayward Son, whoever's.
yeah. Well, but those guys are actually like have great ranges and everything.
Well, yeah,
too.
but they aren't the traditional sounding people. They
Right.
love to have those neutral thirds and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, so I think maybe part of it is that I was performing that kind of music and I was writing my own music too a lot. So then I think when I got to college, and just being around great singers all the time maybe made me feel, a little less good about myself, but also just getting hired for gigs, and then maybe having to learn how to sing other people's songs and not in a punk context, I think is where I would listen back to myself and be like, ooh, you do not sound good. You sound all right. You sound all right for your own, your own punk music. But not all these covers or other people's music, and I'm really bad at harmonizing too.
Oh yeah.
I'm terrible at pitch accuracy, which again for punk, and if I'm the only singer, who cares? But yeah, man, I'm terrible at singing pitch accuracy, which is a bummer because I actually have a decent ear now on the instrument.
I'm sure by playing bass.
Growing up or learning on the instrument, I actually was always more focused on reading music than I was on actually learning by ear. So I never had the strongest ear, but by now my ear on the instrument is pretty good too.
Essentially to be like a side musician that just was like, hey, I want you to play.
Yeah, I read chord charts and music and notation too, which is a great asset. I mean, I've gotten a lot of gigs that a lot of people can't get, and actually, I mean, I've been asked for a lot of gigs that I can't do just because I'm busy, and they'll say, well, do you have anyone to recommend? And I have to sit there and think, I don't know very many bass players who actually read music.
Henry does. I'm pretty sure.
And Henry's my number one recommendation, man. Yeah, Henry absolutely does. Andy Alonso.
I play a little bit of
Joe
bass.
Schaefer.
I don't know if you knew that, but
I
actually.
Well, you said you play everything, so.
Well,
or you will.
I eventually,
You're
but I actually got one of my friends, not my roommate, Hunter Wood. He's the worship director of Victory Church. He was like one day, I was like, I need a bass player to play for the worship team here at school, and I'm like, I can figure out the bass. It's not that bad. It's not that.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not that hard. I already
bass
know
is easy, man.
It
the
is
beginnings,
easy.
the
beginnings of it is
start
easy because it's like half a guitar. With strings wise.
Yeah.
So I already knew all of that, and I know the frets, and it's not that hard to figure it out. It's just counting.
Yeah, it's like playing piano.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like each fret you move is one key on piano.
One key in the piano, exactly.
Yeah.
So I picked it up really quickly. I can already read sheet music anyway. So
yeah.
If you need someone that can do basic stuff, you can shout me in there. But I can't do any crazy runs like that. I'm working on that.
Yeah, well, and yeah, I mean the thing too about like on each string it makes perfect sense. Like you go up by a fret, but then when you cross strings, that's where it gets a little preposterous.
Fancy.
Yeah, a little silly. And but yeah, man, if anyone is like thinking about like learning an instrument, bass is like my number one recommend. Bass or drums, because both are incredibly easy to get started on, to learn some of your favorite songs on. And
they're, pun intended, completely instrumental to learning the basics, because with drums it's rhythm.
Yeah.
If you're on drums, you're set with rhythm for every other instrument.
Oh yeah, totally. Well, and bass too is if you're talking about transitioning to other instruments, bass is incredible because to be a good bass player, you have to have incredible rhythm and time, but you also have to have chordal understanding.
Yep.
Diatonic harmony and everything. So yeah, if you're a good bass player, it definitely is easier to transition to a lot of other instruments. But what I was gonna say is, bass is just it's so rewarding too, because there's something about. I mean, you can just pick up a bass, have no idea what you're doing, and play a note, and it just feels
nice.
Good. Yeah, if you have like a nice amplifier, you just play a note, and just like, wow, I just made music.
Well, it's
guitar.
Like
it's like,
it's a little tinny, but it's like kind of like a tuba where you blast any note on a tuba, and it just fills the room with sound, and you can feel it in your heart.
But tuba's even harder than bass. To
for
make
sure.
a note. Yeah.
But I'm just.
I know what you mean, though.
100%.
Yeah,
you just
totally.
feel it in your soul.
It's because it has all that harmonic
overtone series. Yeah.
the overtone series. Yeah, so like every note on bass, which, by the way, it makes it beautiful, but with great power comes great responsibility.
Oh, absolutely.
If you play 2 notes on a bass, you're
gonna
dangerous.
feel like you're wiggling around in your own body.
Yeah. So you have to. I mean, I play a lot of chords on bass, and one of my rules of thumb is to pretty much almost never play more than 3 notes at one time. Generally speaking,
especially when it's all down that low anyway. If you get more than that, it's gonna be muddy as all
it gets
heck.
muddy. Yeah. So, and now that's the beauty of harmonics too on the bass, and I like to play a lot of natural harmonics and touch harmonics and everything. And with those, you can kind of get a bass more into a guitar range while still having the low notes on the bass too. You can play like the open E on a bass and then pluck some harmonics. I mean, you can do like the 5th fret on the G string, 5th fret on the D string. If you pluck those harmonics, then you've got an E minor 7 chord, and it sounds great. It doesn't sound muddy at all.
Yeah.
That's
the difference between being an okay bass player and then like a world class or professional bass player is knowing your limits.
Oh yeah.
I know so many bass players that just don't know when to stop.
Absolutely. And that's what we were saying earlier.
Yeah.
That's actually what you want to talk about after the break.
Yeah,
now
that is exactly what I want to talk about. So so you before we get to that, we'll round out the voice section of this segment. So where you started and where you are now, how much growth do you think that you've had
vocally?
Or
that's the most painful part of it, is I almost feel like I'm worse off than I started.
Really?
Like back in high school. And I think really what it is just like it's a confidence thing, I think in high school I always sang with complete confidence, and I think it made me sound better. And it's funny, man, because I've never had stage fright as a bass player. Ever.
Yeah.
And and like I said, I never had stage fright as a singer when I was in high school. When I got to college, I suddenly out of nowhere had this terrible like stage fright when I sing. And I never got that with bass though. Like all through college I was just, had no fear of playing the bass.
That definitely does come down to a confidence thing for sure.
Yeah. So it's funny how that happened, man, but it's besides that being said, I think I probably have better pitch accuracy, I hope, than I used to. And I can hear a little more when I'm off. It did used to be like I could be off by like a 5th or like a nice sounding interval, like a 5th or a 4th the entire time and have no idea and thought I was singing
That's wild.
on pitch. Yeah, I've always had the issue with 5ths actually. I always hear 5ths as the octave.
Well, that's a common problem people have.
Yeah.
I've noticed throughout my years at the college, especially because
Yeah.
they sound so consonant with each other.
Yeah.
Musicianship lab where we had to like transcribe or like know what the intervals was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what were you talking about?
So
The bass. Oh, not playing too much.
not playing too much. Yeah. So
Yeah, man.
just to round out the conversation on voice, I've always been pretty good at pitch accuracy to the point where it was that I got annoyed when I heard people off pitch.
Oh yeah.
So hard. I can't.
Oh, yeah.
I can't go to.
But you don't have perfect pitch. You just have really good.
I have
pitch.
really good ear. I don't have perfect pitch, but I can get within the like I'm never more than like a minor second off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But like if someone just plays a C, like you would guess it's a C or a B or a D flat.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I'm pretty good at
Well,
that.
that sounds like perfect pitch.
Well, it's relative.
Jeez. Okay.
It's
about as close as you can get.
Yeah, it's as close as you can
Well,
get.
in my mind, it's very close to perfect pitch. And yeah, from what I understand, having perfect pitch is a blessing and a curse.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
you absolutely hear when people are out of tune.
Yeah, that is. Oh, and I've heard violin. If you're a violinist, you have an extra like that upper
Violin,
echelon.
violin, I can hear when it's out of tune.
Well-
yeah, that's what hurts me when I hear an out-tuned violin. Something about like the like how high it is, maybe, or something. It sounds so shrill to me.
Well, even like just violinists in general. That,
Oh, you mean like playing the
they,
instrument?
Violinists have perfect pitch because
mhm.
they are constantly hearing themselves,
Yeah,
and
or
it's
fretless bass.
it's
Any of these fretless
so-
instruments.
oh, even fretless. Yeah, dude, people who play fretless basses are wizards.
Yeah. Well, yeah, man. I've been learning the upright the
Yeah,
last couple years, and yeah, it's wild trying to learn. Fretless bass is, if it has the lines, it's not too bad because you can just look at where the
where
lines
the lines are.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, dude, on an upright bass, especially when you get in the upper register, because in the lower register it feels much more like an electric bass. Like you can almost visualize the frets. You know, I mean, they're a little bigger, but you can almost kind of visualize them. But yeah, then when you get into the upper register, it is brutal on an upright.
Yeah. So let's transition to talking more about the too much playing and
Yeah.
fitting in your role.
Yeah, man. I mean, for any instrument, it's all about serving the song, period. Now, a lot of popular music tends to have the bass serving the song by playing a little less than, say, the lead guitar.
Unfortunately, we're gonna have to cut this conversation short. I totally forgot that at 11 o'clock
okay.
someone else is coming in.
No worries, man.
So, well, I'll definitely have you on again.
yeah, man, this was a blast.
Yeah.
And I love what you're doing. I listened to Henry's episode. It was incredible. Yeah, and I'm excited to check out the other ones, too.
Yeah. So, with that said, they can find you at Liam Galiano on all social platforms.
Yeah, just Google Liam Galiano. You'll find me.
And with that, we're gonna say goodbye.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
Yep.